I am really shocked by the way some unpatriotic Nigerians have gone on social media, misrepresenting IshowSpeed's visit to Nigeria and using it to project a negative image of their very own country, while attempting to spoil what was a good narrative of a very successful visit. First of all, IshowSpeed never said or implied that Nigeria is smelly. The young man perhaps achieved his most successful stream during his African tour in Nigeria, reaching a milestone of 50 million YouTube subscribers whilst in our dearly beloved country. He is the first black streamer to achieve that milestone, and it occurred in Nigeria, boosted by Nigerian subscribers appreciative of his visit. What these few unpatriotic Nigerians, who have a grudge against their own country, fed by a separatist agenda, have done is take a screenshot of a particular stream where Mr. Darren Jason Watkins Jr. made a face for a few seconds, which he often does all over the world, upon citing something interesting and peculiar. Using that snapshot, they painted a false narrative claiming that Lagos is smelly and that Darren Jason Watkins Jr., aka IshowSpeed, did not enjoy his time there and found nothing interesting or cultural to do. Sadly, their claims have gone wildly viral. In fact, as evidenced by his streams and media coverage, IshowSpeed had perhaps the most eventful moments of his Speed Does Africa tour in Nigeria, which is why he chose to spend his 21st birthday in our country. He drew his biggest crowds here and was so impressed by that he testified about it. He had gastronomical and cultural experiences, including visiting Freedom Park and eating the world-famous Nigerian jollof rice, which he raved about. Thereafter, he had a belated Dirty December moment by interacting with street dances in a carnival-like manner, and had intermittent encounters and conversations with street performers, including a man whose physical strength he celebrated after attempting and failing to match his iron-bending skills. IshowSpeed also enjoyed Nigerian couture when he got to wear the special Nigerian hat, known as a fila, made in Nigeria entirely from made in Nigeria fabric. Something that I have been promoting worldwide. His decision to blend in culturally with Nigerians through fashion made him so excited that he asked street vendors and onlookers whether he looked Nigerian. And on his 21st birthday, IshowSpeed was surrounded by schoolchildren in their school uniforms, singing the famous Happy Birthday song to him, almost bringing him to tears. At Freedom Park, IshowSpeed interacted with various Lagos street performers, who taught the quick learner several dance steps particularly suited to the Nigerian music genre of Afrobeats that has taken the world by storm. IshowSpeed then visited the Nike Art Gallery in Lekki, where the management feted him and gifted him a traditional Lukumi Yoruba outfit, which left him in awe. Mr. Watkins next met Afrobeat singer Zlatan Ibile, who surprised him with a birthday cake, prompting IshowSpeed to shockingly reveal that was the first birthday cake he had ever received. Hard to believe, his time in Nigeria has become one of the most discussed pop culture moments of the year so far, and he was so pleased with Nigeria that one of the first things he did when he visited neighboring Benin Republic was to seek out Nigerians there to continue catching the fun that mesmerized him in Nigeria. Finally, it is not true that the streamer left Nigeria in a hurry after spending only a day in our beautiful country. The truth is that he has only 28 days to visit 20 African countries, and, other than South Africa, where he spent 3 days, he spent approximately 24 hours in each country. At the beginning of the tour, when he had more time, he spent more days in countries, but as the tour wore on and he observed the logistical challenges of visiting the proposed 20 nations, pragmatism forced him to allocate his time more prudently. In no other country did Mr. Watkins enjoy such an action-packed 24 hours, which is why he claimed he was a Nigerian, even saying he was likely Igbo, and named himself Emeka. From the above, it is clear that the narrative crafted by some unpatriotic Nigerians and blown out of proportion by fellow Africans who do not understand Pan-Africanism is nothing but a pathetic lie told by people who have already failed in their unfortunate attempts at setting the United States against Nigeria and are desperate to reignite their negative agenda for Nigeria after seeing the Trump administration cooperating with our great country instead of invading it.
bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Abubakar Malami, a former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation who was in office from November 2015 till May 2023 when the then President Muhammadu Buhari completed his 8 years tenure in office, under which courts of competent jurisdiction granted several detained Nigerians bail, but the Buhari government refused to release them and even rearrested some of them after they had perfected their bail conditions. The then Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, who was saddled with the responsibility of protecting citizens' rights, came out openly and apparently justified the violations of court orders by the then Buhari-led government, and during the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari, Abubakar Malami frequently defended the actions of the government's refusal to obey court's orders of bail granted to high-profile individuals by asserting that national security and public interest superseded individual rights. Some of the high-profile individuals included Colonel Sambo Dasuki, the former National Security Advisor in the era of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who was held for 4 years from December 2015 to December 2019. Despite being granted bail by at least 4 different Nigerian high courts and the ECOWAS court, he was repeatedly rearrested by the Department of State Services, DSS, immediately after fulfilling bail conditions. Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakaki and his wife Zina, detained from December 2015 until they were released in July 2021, were refused bail after federal court declared the detention illegal in 2016 and ordered their release by January 2017, but the government under which Abubakar Malami was a justice minister did not comply, until they were eventually acquitted of all charges by a Kaduna State High Court in 2021. Also, Omiyele Sowore, an activist and a journalist who is the founder of Sahara Reporters News Media, remained in DSS custody for several months in 2019 despite fulfilling bail conditions set by Justice Ijeoma Ojukwu. He was rearrested within the courtroom just 24 hours after a temporary release. Nnamdi Kanu, the convicted and jailed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB leader, was refused bail during his initial trial in 2015. President Buhari then publicly stated during a media chat that Kanu, among others, would not be allowed to go on bail due to the nature of their alleged crimes, despite court rulings. In addition, was Navy Captain Dada Labinjo, who was detained by the Nigeria military from September 2018 until at least late 2019, despite a federal high court order for his release, and during these periods, Abubakar Malami provided several justifications for these detentions. Most notably during his 2019 ministerial screening, Malami stated that the office of the AGF is meant to protect the public interest, and, where the individual interest conflicts with the public interest, the interest of 180 million Nigerians must naturally prevail. He cited the Supreme Court case of Asari Dokubo versus Federal Republic of Nigeria, arguing, it established that national security could supersede personal liberty in specific contexts, and when Dasuki and Sowore were finally released in December 2019, Malami claimed the government did so on compassionate grounds and in compliance with court orders, while denying that international pressure from the United States, US influenced the decision. Currently, the then apparent defender and justifier of government disobedient to court orders is now calling on Nigerians and begging them to help him get justice, since the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, kept him in custody against court order that he had said earlier granted him bail, and after perfecting his bail conditions, he was rearrested by the DSS, and since he has remained in detention. According to Mohammed Bello Doka, Special Assistant on Media to Abubakar Malami, the Office of Abubakar Malami, SAN, expresses grave concern over a series of actions by state agencies, which, taken together, amount to a deliberate attempt to frustrate his constitutional right to fair hearing and effective legal defense. Following charges filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, the Federal High Court granted Mr. Malami bail. However, the EFCC delayed the submission of his international passports to the court for about 1 week, despite the passports being a key condition for the perfection of bail. This delay unnecessarily prolonged his detention and obstructed the execution of a valid court order. Immediately after Mr. Malami eventually perfected his bail and was released from Kuje Custodial Center, he was rearrested by the Department of State Services, DSS. He was thereafter detained for 5 days without access to his lawyers or family, and was only allowed to meet his legal team on Friday after prolonged isolation, delays, and grave violations of his fundamental human rights. This detention occurred at a critical time when Mr. Malami was required to prepare and open his defense in an EFCC interim forfeiture proceeding before the Federal High Court. Denying him access to counsel during this period directly impaired his ability to consult, prepare filings, and give instructions, amounting to a clear frustration of due process. This sequence of events clearly suggests a pattern where arrest precedes investigation, with evidence sought after detention, an approach that is a blatant violation of the rule of law and constitutionally guaranteed rights. It is deeply troubling that the DSS appears to be adopting a similar practice of arrest, detention, and then evidence gathering. The office stresses that bail granted by a court must have meaning. No agency should be permitted to neutralize judicial orders through coordinated delays, rearrests, or denial of access to legal representation. Such actions undermine the authority of the courts and pose a serious threat to fundamental human rights. Mr. Malami remains ready to defend himself fully in court and in accordance with the law, and calls on all state institutions to respect court orders, constitutional guarantees, and the rule of law. In earlier press releases issued by Mohammed Bello Doka, Special Assistant on Media to Abubakar Malami, SAN in December 2025, the Office of Abubakar Malami, SAN, former Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, formally alert the Nigerian public and the international community to the brazen, contemptuous, and lawless conduct of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in its handling of matters concerning Mr. Malami. Following the clear and unequivocal court order granted by the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, on the 23rd of December 2025, admitting Abubakar Malami, SAN, to bail on already fulfilled conditions, officials of the EFCC were formally served with the court process. Rather than comply with the authority of the court, the Commission refused to accept the court-backed letter, chased away the bailiff, and insisted on the continued detention of Mr. Malami in blatant defiance of the law. This conduct represents nothing short of institutional lawlessness. The EFCC, an agency created by statute and bound by the Constitution, has chosen to elevate itself above the courts, arrogating to itself powers it does not possess and treating binding judicial orders with open disdain. More troubling is the fact that, despite revoking bail and detaining Mr. Malami for over 14 days, the EFCC has failed, refused, or neglected to arraign him before any court of competent jurisdiction. This prolonged detention without arraignment is illegal, unconstitutional, and oppressive, and amounts to a gross violation of Mr. Malami's fundamental rights. It is worthy of note that the EFCC is currently detaining Abubakar Malami, SAN, solely on the strength of a High Court order that permitted his detention for a maximum period of 14 days, an order which expires today. Even without regard to the separate bail granted by another High Court of competent jurisdiction, the EFCC was legally obligated to either release him immediately or arraign him before a court today. It has done neither. This deliberate inaction is a further and damning confirmation of the EFCC's vendetta, its blatant disregard for the rule of law, and its dangerous descent into tyranny and abuse of power. Rather than submit itself to due process, the EFCC has instead embarked on an orchestrated media trial, feeding selective narratives to the press in a deliberate attempt to poison public opinion, destroy reputations, and secure convictions in the court of public sentiment after failing to do so in a court of law. This is a dangerous abuse of power and a direct assault on the principles of justice, fairness, and the rule of law. The Commission's actions leave no doubt that it has abandoned its statutory mandate and allowed itself to be deployed as a tool of political persecution. When an anti-corruption agency begins to disobey court orders, detains citizens indefinitely, and weaponize the media, it ceases to be an instrument of justice and becomes a threat to democracy itself. We remind the EFCC that court orders are not suggestions. They're binding commands of the law. Selective obedience to judicial authority is the clearest pathway to anarchy, and Nigeria must not be allowed to descend into a state where security agencies choose which laws to obey and which to ignore. Abubakar Malami, San, has repeatedly stated his readiness to submit himself fully to due process and to have any allegation determined strictly by a court of law. What he rejects, rightly so, is trial by detention, trial by media, and trial by political vendetta. The office of Abubakar Malami, San, therefore calls on the judiciary to take urgent notice of this open contempt of court, relevant oversight bodies to hold the EFCC accountable for its serial violations of the law, and Nigerians of conscience to speak out against the dangerous precedent being set by the Commission's actions. No agency, no matter how powerful, is above the law. The office of Abubakar Malami, San, reiterates that the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and its legal representatives have been properly served with the order of the Honorable Court. A day after the order was issued, the court bailiff, Mr. Abiodun Kolawole, attempted service on the EFCC, which refused to receive the order. This refusal does not negate service nor diminish the authority of the court. Later that same evening, the office of Oketepa, San, received the court order, conclusively establishing notice and awareness on behalf of the EFCC. Meanwhile, Omiyele Sowore had said he will never support extrajudicial measures against anyone. I urge the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to obey the court order granting bail to former Nigerian Attorney General, Abubakar Malami, San. That said, we must also speak honestly about the despicable conduct of the Muhammadu Buhari and the Malami who governed with arrogance and impunity, acting as though there would be no tomorrow and no accountability for their actions. In 2019, after 4 months of detention under the Muhammadu Buhari regime, I was granted bail, but Abubakar Malami, San and the useless DSS DG Yusuf Bichi demanded that my sureties appear at the DSS office for profiling, a request I refused to comply with.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Nigeria military authority has confirmed the death of 5 soldiers and 1 police officer in an ambush launched by terrorists on Monday at Gidan Wagni area of Zamfara state. The incident may be a reminder of incessant cases of high rates of Nigeria losing its soldiers and other security operatives in ambush, especially as observed as a worsening situation in the year 2025, with the ambush of army barracks and killing of the men of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN by terrorists in large number began as early as January 2025. It may be recalled that in January 2025, terrorists launched an attack on the 149 Battalion in Malami Fatori, Borno State, leading to the killing of over 20 military personnel, including a battalion commander and senior officers. Within the first quarter, a careful review of news reports showed that more than 100 Nigeria soldiers were reportedly killed in the first quarter of 2025 by terrorists mostly in ambush. In June 2025, terrorists' attacks on 3 army bases in central and northwestern Nigeria resulted in the killing of at least 17 soldiers. And in September 2025, a major ambush on the Baga-Maiduguri road was reported, where at least 40 soldiers were killed and 65 went missing. While in October 2025, at least 4 soldiers were killed in a Boko Haram ambush in Borno State, while another encounter in Kumshe resulted in 1 soldier killed, and by November 2025, the Nigerian army confirmed the death of Brigadier General Musa Uba and 2 other soldiers following an ambush by ISWAP terrorists near Wajiroko town in Borno State, which some local media reported that several soldiers were killed during the ambush. Even some of the local media stated that those who escaped the ambush, like the Brigadier General, were traced and killed by the terrorists apparently after hours of no rescue or prompt reinforcement by the Nigeria military authority. According to Captain David Adewasi, the media information officer of Operation Fansanyama. The 5 soldiers and the police officer were killed while the troops were returning from a successful operation and responding to a distress call of terrorists' attack in a community in Zamfara state. In his words, Captain David Adewusi said, "Troops of Operation Fansanyama, OPFY, Joint Task Force Northwest, have demonstrated exceptional bravery, professionalism, and resilience following a terrorist ambush along the Bingi-Kekenwaje Gusau Road in Zamfara State on the 19th of January 2026. The ambush followed a series of successful offensive operations conducted from 17 to the 19th of January 2026, when troops of Sector 2 OPFY, in conjunction with the OPFY Mobile Strike Team and DIA Tactical Support Team, carried out coordinated raids, ambushes, and fighting patrols across Bernan Magaji and Anka areas of Zamfara State. During these operations, 3 suspects, Isia Kwakwatawa, Ibrahim Dan Musulu, and Makau Lambagoma, were arrested, while 4 terrorists were neutralized and others fled into the forest. Items recovered included 1 PKT machine gun, 5 AK-47 rifles, 3 AK-47 magazines. Other items are rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition, Baofeng radios, 3 motorcycles. While returning from these operations and responding to a distress call on a terrorist reprisal attack, troops of OPFY Combat Team 1 came under attack by terrorists at Gidan Wagni while en route to Kekenwaje. Despite the surprise of the ambush, the troops responded gallantly, engaging the terrorists and preventing further harm to nearby communities. Regrettably, 5 soldiers and 1 police officer paid the supreme sacrifice during the encounter. Upon receipt of the distress report, the OPFY Mobile Strike Team, in conjunction with troops of 1 Brigade Quick Reaction Force from forward operating bases Karnoma and Kekenwaje, swiftly mobilized to the scene. The reinforcement was personally led by the Commander 1 Brigade, underscoring the high level of coordination and commitment within the operation. The combined force mounted a robust counter-ambush which forced the terrorists to withdraw, with credible intelligence indicating that notorious bandits Kingpin Januya and Alhaji Bello the 2 IC to Kachala soldier seriously injured during the encounter, and some of the fleeing elements sustained gunshot injuries. Troops, supported by community vigilantes, subsequently conducted pursuit while further exploitation and offensive operations continued. Operation Fansanyama assures the public that the situation is under control and remains fully committed to protecting lives and properties of innocent citizens while sustaining pressure on terrorist elements and restoring lasting peace across the joint operations area. The theater commander has condoled with Commander Sector 2 on this loss and further commended the troops for their courage, sacrifice, and professionalism. Additionally, he encouraged members of the public to remain calm and continue to support ongoing security efforts through timely and credible information. The military press release ends in quotes.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Peter Obi, the former Anambra State Governor and last presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the Nigeria 2023 general elections, has insisted that the 3 brothers among the 12 persons that died as a result of fire that engulfed the 25-story building of Great Nigeria Insurance House Plaza at Balogun Market in Lagos Island on Christmas Eve, called for help for days with no emergency response from the government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, saying, the 3 siblings, Mr. Stephen Onyeka Omatu aged 40, Mr. Casimir Nabuka Omatu aged 39, and Mr. Collins Kenechukwu Omatu aged 37, for days, sent distressing pleas for help while trapped in the building, yet there were no emergency services to rescue them. Several days passed in the rubble before their bodies were finally recovered, several days of unanswered calls, of a system that failed them at the moment they needed it most. Peter Obi made this statement after attending the burial ceremony of the 3 siblings held at Uzokwa community in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State on Wednesday, after Lagos State Government through the Office of the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Lenga Omatu in a statement issued on January 1, 2026 stated that as soon as the fire alarm was received on the day, the government deployed teams of first responders to the scene, including the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Lagos State Ambulance Services, security agencies, and other emergency and safety units, but this statement from the Lagos state government appears not to be in line with an eyewitness account, a resident who spoke with News Central Television at the scene of the fire incident that a phone call was made across to a fire service in Lagos State, but the fire service demanded 30 million naira's service fee before the fire service would respond to the emergency issue. The resident added that if the fire service had responded on time, the entire building would have been saved, probably with no life lost, because the fire was only at a single floor when the fire service was called. According to Punch newspaper, the three siblings died after being trapped inside the burning high-rise building in Lagos, an incident that shocked residents and reignited concerns over fire safety and emergency response in the country. According to family sources, the intensity of the inferno made rescue efforts impossible, and only ashes were recovered for burial. The burial brought grief and sorrow to Ihiala community, with residents praying that their souls find rest and that their family finds strength to pass through this trying time. After the burial, emotions ran high as the young wives of the deceased, family members, friends, schoolmates, and sympathizers gathered to bid a painful farewell. Some attendees, dressed in black and carrying posters of the three siblings, wept openly, struggling to come to terms with the tragedy that sent shock waves across the community. Punch Online had reported on January 7th that the fire started on the 4th floor and spread to the 6th before engulfing the remaining floors and adjoining structures. A detached section of the plaza, estimated at about 7 floors high, collapsed during the inferno, trapping some traders and market assistants. One of the families worst affected was the Omatu family, which lost 3 brothers, Steve, 40, Casimir, 39, and Collins, 37. The siblings were trapped in the building and are believed to have died in the fire. A surviving twin, Camillus Omatu, reportedly escaped the blaze. Peter Obi, in a statement published through his verified social media accounts, said, "Yesterday, I attended a deeply emotional and heartbreaking burial of 3 siblings, Stephen Onyeka Omatu, Casimir Nabuk Omatu, and Collins Kenechukwu Omatu, the 3 young brothers whose lives were cruelly cut short in the Great Nigeria Insurance Building fire in Lagos, Nigeria. It is almost impossible to describe the depth of this tragedy. For days, these young men sent distressing pleas for help while trapped in the building, yet there were no emergency services to rescue them. Several days passed in the rubble before their bodies were finally recovered. Several days of unanswered calls, of a system that failed them at the moment they needed it most. This is not just a personal loss for their family, it is a national loss. This tragedy should serve as a reminder that our emergency services must be improved and accessible to every citizen. We cannot continue like this. Every life matters, and no Nigerian should ever have to endure such neglect or be left to perish in such a gruesome way, while help could have been provided. I pray that the souls of Steve, Casimir, and Collins find eternal rest, and that God grants their family the courage, strength, and comfort to bear this unimaginable grief. May we never forget them, and may we be moved to ensure such a tragedy never happens again." The Lagos state government, according to Punch newspaper publication on January 2, 2026, has warned against the spread of speculation that may heighten public anxiety over the fire incident that occurred at the 25-story Great Nigeria Insurance House on Martin Street, Lagos Island, on Christmas Eve. The Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Lenga Omatu, said in a statement on Thursday, January 1, 2026, that the government had taken note of some speculations and assertions concerning the incident. Omatu conveyed the government's sympathy to those who lost their loved ones in the incident, saying, "We feel their pain and understand their anxiety." He reiterated that as soon as the fire alarm was received on the day, the government deployed teams of first responders to the scene, including the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, Lagos State Ambulance Services, security agencies, and other emergency and safety units. Omatu said the teams had also remained on site, conducting systematic search, rescue, and safety operations in line with internationally accepted emergency response protocols. They will remain there and continue to work until the completion of recovery operations, supported by thorough and forensic assessments, he said. Giving an update on the incident, Omatu said, as of this morning, the total number of victims is 8 males, including a fireman, rescued with varying degrees of injury and taken to the hospital. 3 males and 2 females who sustained minor injuries were administered first aid and thereafter released at the scene. 1 adult female was extricated dead from the rubble, 2 adult males were extricated, and 3 persons were burnt. The government appealed to the public, affected families, and all stakeholders to exercise patience, restraint, and sensitivity, and to refrain from spreading speculation that could heighten public anxiety or undermine ongoing operations. In addition to the numbers of death, the National Emergency Management Agency of Nigeria, NEMA, on January 11, 2026, said it recovered 4 more burnt bodies from the scene of the fire incident. Accordingly, NEMA said, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has facilitated the deployment of heavy-duty equipment by the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, CCECC, to support ongoing recovery operations at the site of the Great Nigeria Insurance Building on Martin Street, Lagos Island, which was gutted by fire on the 24th of December 2025. The multi-agency rescue and recovery operation remains complex due to the precarious structural condition of the 23-story building. However, significant progress has been recorded with the controlled removal of debris and the recovery of 4 bodies from beneath the rubble. NEMA is providing technical and operational support to ensure safety at the site while facilitating the deployment of CCECC equipment for controlled excavation and debris clearance. The excavation and debris removal operations are being carried out under the close supervision of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASMA, the Lagos Waste Management Authority, LAWMA, and other relevant response stakeholders. 4 burnt bodies were recovered from the rubble, properly documented, and handed over to the Lagos State Environmental Health Monitoring Unit, SHEMU, for onward transfer for forensic identification and dignified handling. The incident perimeter remains fully secured by the military, police, and other supporting security agencies, with barricades in place to restrict unauthorized access and ensure the safety of emergency personnel and the public. Meanwhile, a strategic coordination meeting was held involving NEMA Lagos Operations Office and key stakeholders, including the Honorable Commissioner for Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations, Lagos State, Mr. Benga Oyerand, the Special Advisor to the Governor on ArcGIS and Urban Development, DRIVE, Olajide Babatunde, and the Chairman of the Community Development Association, CDA. The meeting focused on detailed planning of ongoing operations, including a phased approach to safe excavation, structural integrity assessment, controlled demolition, and eventual site rehabilitation. All activities at the site remain under the authority of LASMA and the Lagos State Government, with NEMA providing technical and operational support. Meanwhile, a Catholic priest, Father A. James, in a tweet on X social media platform on January 6, 2026, talked about the Omatu family and stated in quotes that there were 7 orphans in one family, 2 girls and 5 boys. One of them is a priest, Father William Omatu. 3 of their brothers were trapped in the Great Nigeria House Market fire on Lagos Island and died there on Christmas Eve, the 24th of December 2025. They did not die because it was inevitable. They died because, in Nigeria, life has become cheap. Because those meant to protect lives and property did not. Because no one came in time. Because, somehow, nobody cared enough. How does a family bury 3 promising sons on the same day? How do you explain such pain? This is not just sad. It is devastating. It breaks the heart. What hurts even more is knowing that their brother, a priest and my friend here in Scotland. The remaining siblings will live the rest of their life and ministry carrying this memory, the knowledge of how their brothers died, and how helpless everyone was. May Nigeria not happen to any of us, in Jesus' name. I pray that the Lord grants this family the fortitude to carry a grief this heavy. May the souls of Stephen, Casimir and Collins rest in peace. Amen. On January 9, 2026, Father A. James also tweeted and said, I just came off a call with Father William Omatu, the brother of the 3 siblings that lost their lives in the Lagos market fire, and he told me they could not recover the bodies of his brothers. They were left only with ashes. In fact, he showed me the ashes he had just collected from the site. This is painful and heartbreaking. He told me that about 100 people died in that building. What a tragedy. I cannot imagine what it feels like for him and his remaining siblings at this time, but I pray that God will see him through. Amen. Please keep them in your prayers as they travel for the burial.
I'm a living witness, and my friend are also selling business in this plaza, so very close to this place. But what I observed when the fire started around 4 something is that they call some private fire service in the first places. They call them, and as they call them, they demand for 30 million naira, and the thing starts just only one floor. And the only one floor is not even everywhere. Just only particular little places in the first building, first floor. They should kill it. If they try to stop the fire, it won't get to this extent. And there is a way. Even they park at the opposite of where the fire is. The opposite of that building. They park there. They park there this evening. What is stopping them to stop the fire then before it gets to this extent? So that's my blame. That private fire service is supposed to be banned, because that is, in fact, it's so merciless. So that's all I can say about
it. Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Inspector General of Police IGP Kayode Egbetoken for days now has refused to speak or deliberately kept mum after a well-known founder of a private organization, Harrison Gwamnishu, who have been assisting Nigeria's security operatives with credible and reliable intelligence information that have led to the killing and arrest of several kidnappers, in a video statement on Saturday revealed the complicit of the Nigeria police force in aiding and trying to cover up a reasonable suspect behind the kidnapping of a couple in the late days of November 2025 at Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State. And the reasonable suspect happened to be the younger brother of the man who was kidnapped alongside his wife, which, the kidnappers only set free the wife after a sting operational ransom money of 20 million nairas was given to the kidnappers, with the reasonable suspect fully aware of all arrangements of the top-secret security plans of Harrison Gwamnishu, but decided to make the sensitive security information public even when his elder brother is still held captive by the kidnappers. The reasonable suspect, in a TikTok video live streaming, admitted that he was actually among the people arrested by soldiers over an issue. The reasonable suspect refused to state. The reasonable suspect, among others, were handed over to the Nigeria police force for the continuation of investigation and possible prosecution, but, according to Harrison Gwamnishu, immediately police noticed he was able to recognize the reasonable suspect as a family member who was aware of his security plans, and he was also the one that helped deliver the money to the kidnappers in the bush. An order within the police authority came, and the reasonable suspect was set free immediately, while others arrested alongside the reasonable suspect were remanded to prison. That aside, Harrison Gwamnishu, in an exclusive interview with TVC television station made available to the public by the broadcast media on Sunday night, indicated that the Nigeria police force had all the opportunities and chances to rescue the remaining kidnapped victims, but the police deliberately refused to go into the bush, with the police saying that the kind of intelligence information he had provided is an archaic style of intelligence gathering. This, according to Harrison Gwamnishu, forced him to show the police video evidences of how his style of intelligence has aided successful offensive operation against kidnappers, but all his explanations went on deaf ears. Even when for days, the tracking devices he added to the special money he mixed with the original money given to the kidnappers as ransom was still showing the exact location of the kidnappers and other useful information that could have enabled the police mobilize and rescue the remaining kidnapped victims. According to the reasonable suspect, Harrison Gwamnishu was actually contacted to help capture the kidnappers. This statement probably indicated that he ought not to be surprised that some original money was removed from the bag by Harrison Gwamnishu, except he can explain better how he expected Harrison Gwamnishu to capture the kidnappers without acting intelligently. Harrison Gwamnishu had said that the reasonable suspect came with the money with a lot of young people who were with him in the hotel. According to Harrison Gwamnishu, he visited the hotel the reasonable suspect was, and observed the presence of a lot of young individuals before he asked him to bring the money to his hotel room. Adding that, after the reasonable suspect brought the money to his hotel room, he left, leaving him, Harrison Gwamnishu and the brother of the woman who was kidnapped with her husband in the hotel room. Harrison Gwamnishu said the wife's brother, who he said to be a medical doctor, was inside the room while he was scattering the money and replacing some with the tracking devices. The reasonable suspect failed to state why he left Harrison Gwamnishu inside the hotel room while he was working on the money. The reasonable suspect failed to state the issue he felt was more important than the life of his elder brother and his wife, that should make him leave Harrison Gwamnishu and others alone in the hotel room. The reasonable suspect also admitted that the kidnappers never counted the money. That, immediately he opened the bag in the presence of the kidnappers, saw the way and manner the Naira notes were scattered, he concluded that Harrison Gwamnishu had removed some money from the bag. Adding that, immediately he left the presence of the kidnappers, he started calling people to inform them that Harrison Gwamnishu had removed some money. And when the divisional police officer, DPO, asked Harrison Gwamnishu if actually he removed some money from the bag, Harrison said yes, stating clearly that that is how he does his work. The reasonable suspect never stated why such an information became an issue on social media even when his brother was still with the kidnappers. The reasonable suspect said, the kidnappers are now demanding the exact 5.4 million Nairas balance of the 20 million Nairas and an additional 60 million Nairas ransom before they would release his elder brother. Harrison Gwamnishu, while speaking on Saturday, said, the reasonable suspect was arrested alongside others with guns in Auchi by soldiers, and they were subsequently handed over to the police area command in Auchi, and the police command thereafter transferred the suspects to the state police command in Benin City, where the reasonable suspect was set free without proper explanation from the police authority. Many who have spoken about the arrest of the reasonable suspect by the soldiers indicated that the reasonable suspect and others arrested alongside him were captured by the soldiers in a secret cult-related crime. And recent crackdowns in late 2025 and early 2026 in Edo State based on police reports have led to the arrest of over 112 suspects, many of whom confessed to being both kidnappers and secret cult members. If true, the reasonable suspect was arrested by soldiers in secret cult-related activities. On what ground was he granted bail or set free by the police? Who is the police authority that gave the order for the reasonable suspect to be set free even when the police authority knows that secret cult-related crime in the state is a capital offense that attracts more than 20 years jail term and life imprisonment? Information available to us indicated that the reasonable suspect may have run away from Nigeria, and the current condition of things with the people still remaining with the kidnappers are yet to be ascertained. We had reported that Harrison Gwamnishu, the founder of a registered private organization assisting the Nigeria security operatives with credible and reliable intelligence information that have led to the killing and arrest of several kidnappers in the West Africa country, especially in the South-South geopolitical zone of Edo and Delta states, in a video statement issued via his verified social media account a few hours ago, has said that the family member and a brother of the kidnapped couple who worked with him and his team to deliver the prepared sting operational 20 million naira's ransom to the kidnappers has been arrested alongside his gang members with guns, but, according to Harrison Gwamnishu, immediately the Nigeria police force noticed that he could vividly recognize the suspect as a brother to the kidnapped couple. The Nigeria police force quickly released the suspect and charged other members of his gang arrested in Auchi to court, even when the kidnapping involving the suspect's brother and wife is generating more reactions after the wife was set free by the kidnappers while the husband, who is the suspect's brother, is still held in captivity till date by the kidnappers, since both were kidnapped in their home at Avili village in the Etsuko West local government area of Edo State in late days of November 2025.
As I wait, I drop the money from Ghana. Make I start to come out the money. First, I the Ghana must go. Immediately I will put that Ghana must go. I miss the money does scatter. From there, I felt like something went wrong. Something happened.
Something come up for your body.
So understand? Another spirit enter my body. Like
you say, like, they transfer the money.
Yes, yeah, went out for my body. People. Like, man. I just pray no one else get to express something like this because it's not a nice story to tell.
Yeah.
You understand? They bring one come outside and I go carry the money. As I carry the money, I just say they don't scatter. Bro, how I want to cut money with those scatter? They don't already speak Hausa. Ni Nigeria Hausa, me and they speak Hausa, they speak Yoruba. You understand? They were speaking Hausa, but I kept them deaf ear. You understand? They call yours, they do their thing. Like they speak, they crack on, they speak Hausa. Before you know, a few minutes later, they go bring my brother wife from outside. They bring her from outside. The one has down and say whether I know me. As he won't talk, I spoke my language at once. I say, you know, which means shut up. I didn't hear you they talk. Who you be? I know you. After that, when I deny finish, he say the other guy where they speak English, where they speak Hausa, where they speak English, I mock them. Outside people they speak English. They don't already collect my phone as at that moment. They say make I remove passcode. I tell them my phone gets security process. If you are going to put your passcode, it's going to leak secrets. They call who the phone. They call they look me. Then the other one call them and say this money no complete. Now why I say they are got the verse the paro? They like this now. Say they will release only my brother wife. Gumi. Say they release only my brother wife. Say they will cut that money. Say that my brother and I go cut that money. But if they cut and say the money completes, they will call us. They will, sorry, if the cutter say the money completes, they will give my brother transport to come meet us for house. But if the cutter say no complete, they will call us to break the balance.
Okay.
They call my brother wife say me follow me. Guess what? My brother wife say no go. He said no go leave the husband for bush. I hold that one hand. I drag on. As I drag, I say enter motor. As we enter motor, they give me my phone and my SIM card. I have to tap back for my phone. Now I begin to call my friends, they report this police. What RC do?
Okay, now you come for Z004.
Yes, I call. No, as we read, they call you accused Z004. Say me provide RC.
Because if they don't see RC, now
RC run away. RC run away. So Z004, we know that Z004 RC take on. Yes.
Well, they not be RC go deliver the money. Okay, but wait a minute.
RC no go bush. RC no go bush. RC no go bush. RC no enter bush.
Good, we don't understand this one. For Nigeria, they listen to you now, so and I want really ask
RC no go bush. RC enter the bush. RC no go bush. RC no go bush. Mona no let her the brainwash now. I no go bush. RC go enter the forest. Alice no go bush. Alice no go in bush. So,
this be the real motive why Una invite Harrison before. What is the motive? Yes,
he was going to deliver the money to the kidnappers by himself, and he's going to help to capture those kidnappers.
Okay, yes, now I understand.
Now why? Now what the carrier come at those states? We say
how
much they pay you. He said they no go pay him. He said na free work they do. He said they no go pay him. We no pay Alice 5 naira. Even the hotel where Alice lodge. Z04 called me, say, see how much it lodge the hotel. Now Z04 tell me say pay for the hotel. Even the food where RC eat for the hotel, Z04 I pay. Because they tell me say see how much the food. Even barbecue where RC eat for the hotel, everything, the rice and stew where he eat. I was not able to eat at that. I was not able to eat at that moment. RC eat twice. Now Z04 pay, but Z04 called they tell me, Z04 now tell us, no worry, if my brother come outside, I will pay you.
Easy.
Now from when where we reach, Now where we reach hotel, we no see Harrison. Police call all of us go police station. And from police station, they call Harrison. Took like 20 minutes before Harrison come. As Harrison come, now call the hitman hand for people. Harrison must provide money we carry. Before Harrison, the DPO of the police station call Harrison say, did you remove money from the money? He say yes. Bros, now from there my body call cool. I call hold my head. I say, sir, what did you say? You remove money, Harrison? As the person asked, how much did you remove? He said, I have no idea. Immediately, the DP of the police ordered that the hotel should be closed. Nobody should enter or go out from the hotel. Then he ordered some of his men to follow, I think, RDC boys to the hotel, to the room he lodged. Now, the hotel room, now they for retrieve that 5.4 million naira. Cash. The money was brought to the DPO's office. I have the video when RDC was explaining. 2. As at 11 p.m., we're still at the police station that day, 11:30. So some of my friends are here, they are aware of this issue, this whole thing.
Now, so what's the situation of your brother now in the bush?
Bro, the craziest thing is that since where RC got involved, when they fed arrest RC where those kidnappers up to the call. Later, they start to the call us, they start to the call. Because I was arrested, something has happened, I was arrested, I won't lie.
Yeah.
So I can't be like, no, be me call they make the calls. And my brother, Ilo, and the wife, and my brother, wife, they in charge of the calls. And even when they go do meeting with RDC for state CID, they say, they continue to negotiate with the kidnappers. Because the kidnappers now call they say, they break 60 million naira. Plus another 5.4 million naira, we no complete. 5.4 million naira, will be their balance, where RDC remove for the first initial 20 million naira. You understand? It could be 65,400,000. But later on, the kidnappers cost me they bring 50 million naira. So since then, those kidnappers know they negotiate. So RDC and a lawyer now, they want me will come or like all do videos, say RDC no thief, RDC, all those things that happen and misunderstanding. They will go to the police station, go to DPP and withdraw the case. Because the case is still there. The case has not been dismissed. RDC was just released conditionally. So since RDC got involved in this case, the case has worsened more.
About to come to that. Exactly. We saw that he went ahead to say that the man is still in a very critical condition and the family is now selling the man's property. Is that true? Harrison, would you confirm that?
I wouldn't know if the man is in critical. I wouldn't know if the man is in a critical condition.
No, I mean the property, the selling of the man's property, that the family reached out that they need to now sell the property.
That's true. Someone, a friend reached out to them, a friend of mine reached out to them and said the woman, the wife to the man reached out to a friend, somebody who is close to me. I said, the kidnappers reached out. They are demanding for so. Can you people assist us? And the man was angry and said, because the man already advised them before now, at the police, that keeping Harrison in the cell is not going to resolve this matter. The Harrison can assist you guys in getting this guy out. Yeah. Because while I was in the station, what went to the bush was still showing us the exact location where this guy found. But the police refused to act on it.
So okay, the police didn't want to act on it, but they knew where the location was.
They refused to. Yes.
So what would be the reason for that?
I don't know. But the police was just hammering on prosecuting me for God knows. I don't know. Even till now, I'm yet to understand why they were so much. I believe because of my years of advocacy on police brutality and extortion. Maybe that's the reason why. All right. So the man reached out to them and said, the woman reached out to them. The woman reached out to the man and said that they wanted assistance. The man said, Harrison's name has been destroyed on social media space. We only came to him. And they also acknowledged the family of the man and the woman acknowledged that I only came to assist them. Okay, fine. How will you assist? And the man told them, fine, this man's name has been destroyed on social media. You people have to, after he rendered assistance, you people have to still go back to the media and tell them the role I played in this whole matter. Yes. And the woman was recording every conversation she had with the man, which they sent to VDM, and VDM posted it. So imagine the kidnappers listening
to that conversation.
To such things. What will happen?
But Harrison, I also know that a 20 million was involved in this whole thing. Where did that 20 million actually go to?
Yes.
Yeah, Harrison, can you hear me?
It went to the kidnappers.
Did you give it to them directly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Did you give it to them directly?
No, I don't pay ransom to kidnappers. The family went in and gave the money to the kidnappers.
So the family met with the kidnappers?
Yes, the kidnappers, they is give and take. They don't drop it somewhere and move. No, you bring the money and give them in their legs while they are there with you. They will confirm the money and then you move. They release the person and give to you. But on this one, the money was not counted to know if it's below 20 million or above 20 million. This is the point you must note.
This same guy you see here.
This is the point. The money was not counted to know if it's above 20 million or below 20 million. But what went into that forest was 20 million naira. Was 20 million that went into that forest. Yes, that was what went into that forest.
But you know, right about now.
So, but there are things involved which I cannot say now.
Exactly.
Yes,
I get it.
Yeah. So, but what went into that forest was 20 million that went into that forest. And again, please, that man was not kidnapped alone and the wife. Another family were kidnapped too. A man and the wife was kidnapped. The man also is currently there with the man. The man family brought 20 million naira to the same kidnapper. The kidnappers took that money and they not also released that man too. So it's not just this man in that forest now.
So now it's not just the man in the forest. Actually, there's another man in the forest as well.
No, there's another man in the forest. The man was kidnapped with the wife and then a little child. The kidnappers noticed that the child was crying. They released the wife and the child to go. They held the man. That man, the family also came to pay money, 20 million naira. They took the money that same day, that same night.
But Harrison, with this whole thing, I'm worried that, you know, these families, you are saying that these families go and they see these kidnappers one-on-one. You know, I'm worried that if they know where they are, they see them, you know, that's very scary. Anything could have happened to these families. Why didn't the police take charge at any point of all of this?
They have opportunity to have strike them. They have big opportunity.
So the police had the opportunity to strike them?
They had the opportunity. They said that my method was outdated. That was what they gave. I said no. I gave them videos and pictures of the recoveries we've made.
The
videos, pictures of other of these kidnappers that they have been neutralized by the military. I don't neutralize. I don't do anything. With my team, we show them the tracks of these kidnappers using our device. That has been working for us. So sometimes the security will tell you I'm not part of the operation because they don't want to, you know, show their lapses to the world. So they will tell you that it's not part of the operation. They only give us intelligence. I'm part of the operation. I'm there at the forefront. I'm there with them.
You came out and apologized.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Harrison Gwamnishu, the founder of a registered private organization assisting the Nigeria security operatives with credible and reliable intelligence information that have led to the killing and arrest of several kidnappers in the West Africa country, especially in the South-South geopolitical zone of Edo and Delta states. In a video statement issued via his verified social media account a few hours ago, has said that the family member and a brother of the kidnapped couple who worked with him and his team to deliver the prepared sting operational 20 million naira's ransom to the kidnappers has been arrested alongside his gang members with guns, but, according to Harrison Gwamnishu, immediately the Nigeria police force noticed that he could vividly recognize the suspect as a brother to the kidnapped couple. The Nigeria police force quickly released the suspect and charged other members of his gang arrested in Auchi to court, even when the kidnapping involving the suspect's brother and wife is generating more reactions after the wife was set free by the kidnappers while the husband, who is the suspect's brother, is still held in captivity till date by the kidnappers since both were kidnapped in their home at Avili village in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State in late days of November 2025. According to Harrison Gwamnishu, before the ransom money was delivered to the kidnappers inside the bush, the kidnappers made a phone call to the arrested and quickly set free suspect to give him the exact location to drop the money. He was surprised to hear one of the kidnapped victims, the husband, still with the kidnappers, begging his brother, who is currently seen as the suspect behind the kidnapping, to forgive him if he has done anything wrong to him. The pleading shocked him, but Harrison said he decided to act as if he never heard anything. Harrison Gwamnishu added that the suspect, He was the family member that raised the alarm that the ransom money wasn't complete, that was the reason the kidnappers only released the wife and refused to set free the husband. Stating clearly that everyone who participated in taking the money to the kidnappers affirmed that the kidnappers never counted the money. That even if the kidnappers had counted the money, he prepared the money specially by only scattering the tracking devices on the dummy Naira notes that looked like original Naira notes in a manner that made the whole money complete. The family member who delivered the ransom to the kidnappers and some of his gangs were arrested with guns in Auchi by soldiers. The soldiers handed them over to Auchi Area Command. Auchi Area Command transferred them to Anti-Cultism Unit SCID Benin, and along the side, an order came that the boy should be released. Other people with him were charged to court and sent to prison. Same boy was with us in Auchi and knows our plans. I told the police my story. My statement is with the police. They did nothing. Continuing, Harrison Gwamnishu stated verbatim thus: "Good afternoon, my name is Harrison Gwamnishu. While I was in custody in State SID, Benin, at the CP's office, CP was in that meeting, the Chief of Staff to the Governor was in that meeting, the CSO to the Governor, Chief Security Officer to the Governor was in that meeting, the Commissioner for Security and Public Safety was in that meeting, the Head of Investigative Team was in that meeting, the family members were in that meeting, the wife of the man kidnapped was in that meeting, his brother was in that meeting and other parties were there. My lawyer was in that meeting, and then a friend of mine who lives in Benin was also in that meeting. And the family pleaded. They said that nobody should ever post about this matter on social media. Until the matter is resolved. I accepted. When I left the police custody, I did not say anything about it. They have been the ones now going around telling people things that never existed. And they're now posting on social media. People are now changing, posting narratives and the rest of it. Now, number one, this guy you see on the screen, this is the family member that went to drop the money to the kidnappers. He was aware of the arrangement. The arrangement was that, now, look at, when I was in Asaba, they said the kidnappers demanded for 50 million for both of them, the husband and wife. And they were able to raise 20 million naira. Now, the kidnappers now told them that with 20 million naira they will release only the woman. That was what they told me while I was in Asaba. Later, they said the kidnappers accepted to collect 20 million naira for the both of them. They pleaded that the wife is pregnant, although the kidnappers were telling them that money would be for only the wife. Later they said the kidnappers accepted to collect 20 million naira. Why I was invited was not to go and give the kidnappers money. No, it was for me to fix something in the bag of money they are taking to the kidnappers. This is not what I am supposed to say on the social media space. But, now, it is time for me to say it the way it is. So that anywhere it is going, people will know the true fact of the story. So that they will stop believing one-sided story. And when I got into Auchi, this same guy you see here, they brought the money to my hotel. I first of all went to their hotel. They were crowded. Young boys were there. They now came to my hotel. While in my hotel room, they left somebody, a doctor, who is a brother to the woman. He was sitting there in my room. I did my job perfectly. The bag was sealed up for them to take it to the kidnappers in the forest. Now, before they moved to the forest, the kidnappers called. And he answered the phone, which was the last pickup, for them to give direction where they're coming. The man in the bush, the man with the still held in the bush, was begging this guy. The doctor was there. The doctor, the brother to the woman, was sitting down there. My driver was there and other people were sitting down there. The man in the bush was begging the brother, this one, begging this guy. He said, "Please, if I have wronged you before, forgive me. If I have done something to you before, forgive me." And he began to beg him. A beg. Now, me and my wife are here. You know, my wife, a beg. If I have done you wrong before, I begged, forgive me. I begged. He was begging this guy. Then, the phone hung up. I asked him, why was your brother begging you? He said, I get previous transaction. I said, hey, it's okay, no problem. I just do as if it didn't even go in my head. Nothing happened. I just left it. So, they carried the money to the bush. And when they got to the bush, they said, the kidnappers did not count the money to know whether it is above 20 million naira or below 20 million naira. If they have counted that money will be 20 million naira because what we did was what we are supposed to do. They only saw that the money was counted, but they did not count the money. It was this same guy, thank God he was there with my driver, who confirmed everything. It was this same guy that came out and raised alarm that it was what I did that made him to hold the guy. Now, listen, kidnappers, these kidnappers, we've monitored them for months, both in Delta and in Edo states. Now, they don't count money, 100,000, 200,000, they count in bundles. So, what we did was, they wouldn't have even noticed anything at all. They wouldn't have noticed anything at all. We did our job perfectly well and they took the money there. The money was not counted. Now, listen, now it was not only this man they went to release and the wife. Another family they kidnapped. This family they kidnapped. This one they kidnapped. They kidnapped this man, the wife and the husband. But, along the line, they released the woman and the child because the child was crying. The same family, this other family went also to pay ransom again to kidnappers too. And when they got there, the same kidnappers, when they got there, the kidnappers collected 20 million naira and they didn't release the man. So, both this one and this one were taken back to the bush and the woman was released. That was what transpired. So, while I was in custody in Benin, I saw young people. They arrested young guys, brought them to the cell. What happened? They said this boy here, this same person that paid ransom, they arrested him. He was arrested in Auchi, arrested them with guns, not only him, many of them. And suddenly, they released this guy, this same guy that went to pay this ransom, that the order came from the police that they should let him go. They released him, and I was in the cell with them. In fact, when they brought him to my cell, they quickly changed these people from my cell to another cell. Immediately, because maybe they knew that those guys, they know me. They changed them from my cell to another cell. I was surprised. Now, if you watch this video, you see what this boy is saying here. He said, look at him, celebrating when he was released. You like your freedom. Freedom is priceless. Yes, if you like me, I give you. No, but if you like me, I give you. At times for who? At times, I kill you. They did not charge this boy and other ones to court. This was the same guy who took the money to go and give the kidnappers. The same guy the brother in the bush was begging. That money was 20 million naira. 20 million naira was in that bag. 20 million naira. 20 million naira. If the kidnappers counted that money, at that first stage, it would count 20 million naira. But the social media issues, they now increase now. They announced that the family should bring in some amount of money. So, my brothers, I did my best. I did my best. I didn't do anything wrong in that matter. I did everything possible, but there are things I would still say. How the money, everything that happened, I would say it. Because if I say it, I think that ends my work too. I won't be doing anything for anybody again. But I have to clear my name. I have to clear my name. So, those of you who destroy my name on the social media space, there is no problem. This narrative, they're selling to you. Go ahead with it. Go ahead with it. Tunde Ednut, I was bashing him, yes. I messaged him, I said, why do you stop posting? That VDM said he has something against me. And you stopped posting. He could not bring it up. Why do you stop posting? Post what? Just post it. Ask him questions. Where is the evidence you say you have for Nigerians? You are giving us 24 hours to confess. Where is the evidence?
Good afternoon. My name is Harrison Gwamnishu. While I was in custody, State CID Benin, at the CP's office, all right, CP was in that meeting. The Chief of Staff to the Governor was in that meeting. The CSO to the Governor, Chief Security Officer to the Governor was in that meeting. The Commissioner for Security and Public Safety was in that meeting. The Head of Investigative Team, the CSP of Sage, was in that meeting. The family members were in that meeting. The wife of the man kidnapped was in that meeting. His brother was in that meeting. And other parties were there. My lawyer, Barrister Favor, was in that meeting. And then a friend of mine who lives in Benin was also in that meeting. And the family pleaded. They said that nobody should ever post about this matter on social media until the matter is resolved. I have said that. When I left the police custody, I did not see any pen about it. They have been the one now going around telling people things that never existed. And they're now posting on social media. People are now changing, twisting narrative and the rest of them. Now, number one, this guy you see on the screen, this is the family member that went to drop the money to the kidnappers. He was aware of the arrangement. The arrangement was that, now look at, when I was in Asaba, they said the kidnappers demanded for 50 million for both of them, the husband and wife. And they were able to raise 20 million naira. And the kidnappers now told them that with 20 million naira, they will release only the woman. That was what they told me while I was in Asaba. Later they said kidnappers accepted to collect 20 million naira for the both of them. That they pleaded that the wife is pregnant. Or the kidnappers were telling them that that money would be for only the wife. Later they said the kidnappers accepted to collect 20 million naira. Why I was invited was not to go and give kidnappers money. No. It was for me to fix in something in the bag of money they are taking to the kidnappers. This is not what I'm supposed to say on the social media space. But man, it is time for me to make it say the way it is. So that anywhere it's going, people will know the true fact of the story. So that they will stop believing one-sided story. And when I got into Auchi, this same guy you see here, they brought the money to my hotel. I first of all went to the hotel. We were crowded, young boys were there. They now came to my hotel. While in my hotel room, they left somebody, a doctor, who is a brother to the woman. He was sitting there in my room. I did my job perfectly. The bag was sealed up for them to take it to the kidnappers in the forest. Now, before they moved to the forest, the kidnappers called and he answered the phone, which was a loudspeaker, for them to give direction where they are coming. The man in the bush, the man still head in the bush, was begging this guy. If the doctor would be truthful, the doctor was there. The doctor, the brother to the woman, was sitting down there. My driver was there, and other people were sitting down there. The man in the bush was begging the brother, this one, begging this guy. He said, please, if I have wronged you before, forgive me. If I have done something to you before, forgive me. And he they beg you. I beg, now me and my wife, they here. You know, so my wife get belly. I beg, if I don't do you wrong before, I beg, forgive me. I beg. He was begging this guy. Then, the phone hung up, and I asked him, why was your brother begging you? He said, then get previous transaction. I said, I said, okay, no problem. It didn't even go my head. Nothing happened. I just left it. So they carried the money to the bush. And when they got to the bush, they said the kidnappers did not count the money to know whether it is above 20 million naira or below 20 million naira. If they have counted that money will be 20 million naira, because what we did was what we are supposed to do. Now, they only saw that the money was scattered, but they did not count the money. It was this same guy. Thank God he was there with my driver, who confirmed everything. It was the same guy that came out and raised alarm that it was what I did that made them to help the guy. Now, listen. These kidnappers, we've monitored them for months, both in Delta and in Edo State. Now, they don't count money, 100,000, 200, they count in bundles. So what we did was, they wouldn't have even noticed anything at all. They wouldn't have noticed anything at all. We did our job perfectly well, and they took the money there. The money was not counted. Now listen. Now it was not only this man they went to release though, and the wife. Another family they kidnapped. This family they kidnapped. This one they kidnapped. They kidnapped this man, the wife, and the husband. But along the line, they released the woman and the child because the child was crying. The same family, this other family went also to pay ransom again to kidnappers too. And when they got there, the same kidnappers, when they got there, the kidnappers collected 20 million naira and they don't release the man. So both this one and this one were taken back to the bush, and the woman was released. That was what transpired. So while I was in custody in Benin, I saw young people. They raided, they arrested strong guys, brought them to the cell. What happened? They said this boy here, this same person that paid ransom, they arrested him. He was arrested in Auchi. Arrested them with gun. Not only him, there are many of them. And suddenly, they released this guy. This same guy that went to pay this ransom. That the order came from the police that they should let him go. They released him. And I was in the cell with them. In fact, when they brought them to my cell, the same family, this other family went also to. They quickly changed these people from my cell to another cell immediately, because maybe they knew that those guys they know me. They changed them from my cell to another cell. I was surprised. Now, if you watch this video, you see what this boy is saying here. He said, "Look at him celebrating when he." You like your freedom?
Freedom is priceless. If you like, then I give you. Nobody, if you like, don't use money to ask freedom. All thanks to who? All thanks to you.
Let me play it for you.
They did not charge this boy and another ones to court. This was the same guy who took the money to go and give the kidnappers. The same guy the brother in the bush was begging. That money was 20 million naira. 20 million naira was in that bag. 20 million naira. 20 million naira. If the kidnappers counted that money at that first stage, it would count 20 million naira. But the social media issues, they now increase the ransom that the family should bring in such amount of money. So my brothers, I did my best. I did my best. I didn't do anything wrong in that matter. I did everything possible. But there are things I will still say. How the money, everything that happened, I will say it. But because I say it, I think that ends my work too. I won't be doing anything for anybody again. But I have to clear my name. I have to clear my name. For those of you destroying my name on the social media space, there is no problem. This narrative they are selling to you. Go ahead with it. Go ahead with it. Tunde not. I was bashing him. Yes, I messaged him and said, "Why do you stop posting?" That VDM said he has something against me, and you stop posting. He could not bring it up. Why do you stop posting? Post what? Just post it. Ask him questions. Where's the evidence you say you have for Nigerians? That even harassing the 4 hours to confess. Where's the evidence?
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
One of the most talked about Islamic preachers in Nigeria who have had photographs with people suspected to be terrorists, terrorizing villages and communities in the northern part of Nigeria when he visited the suspected terrorists in their camps inside forests on the ground of having peace talk with the armed groups. Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi has described as a terrorist act the United States U.S. military action ordered by President Donald Trump that attacked and killed yet to be ascertained total numbers of ISIS-affiliated Lakurawa terrorists in Sokoto state on Christmas Day. The Islamic cleric called on the people in the villages affected by the U.S. missile strikes on Thursday night to post on social media platforms evidences of damages caused by the U.S. military action. According to Gumi, it is in line with the teachings of Islam for terrorists to be killed, but the killing must be done by people with a clean and holy hands, and not by another terrorist whose hands are stained with the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent children, women, and men. Just recently, stressing that the U.S. involvement in the fight against terrorism in Nigeria will make the country becomes an enemy of its neighbors, a theater of war, because the involvement will attract the real anti-U.S. forces into the West Africa country, and in a manner that looked like mockery. Sheikh Gumi said, dropping a few bombs here and there cannot tackle the menace of terror. They need serious military on the ground, which, if we are serious, we have enough men to do that. In contrary to Gumi's assertions, the Nigeria government, through the office of the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuggar, said it was President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Thursday that gave the US the approval to carry out the strikes against the terrorists. But the government statement apparently did not go down well with Omiyele Sowore, a human rights activist and the founder of Sahara Reporters News Media, who insisted that it is evident that the strikes were carried out without the genuine authority or informed consent of the weaklings masquerading as government under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and in a swift reaction to Omiyele Sowore, one of the recently nominated and confirmed ambassador-designate, Reno Omokri, said, "I am afraid I will have to disagree with Mr. Omiyele Sowore, and others like him, who are misinforming the Nigerian public that the recent actions against terrorists are proof that Nigeria lacks sovereignty. Such views are indicative of a lack of awareness of international relations. It is also wrong for Mr. Sowore to call our government and military weak." Sheikh Ahmed Abubakar Mahmoud Gumi, in a statement titled, "The Symbolism of the US Strike," he shared on his verified Facebook account when he reshared the news link of a post published by CNN on Friday, said, "Annihilating terrorists is an Islamic obligation. The Prophet, peace be upon him, wished he annihilated them. He said, should I live till they appear, I would kill them as the killing of the nation of Ad. Al-Bukhari and Muslim." This said, it should only be carried out by clean, holy hands, not by another terrorist whose hands are stained with the blood of hundreds of thousands of innocent children, women, and men just recently. This is the mistake Nigeria has made. Terrorists don't fight terrorists in truth. They may only kill innocent people and have ulterior motives behind the drama of fighting terror. As a principle, no nation should allow its land to be a theater of war. And no nation should allow its neighbors to be their enemies. If Nigeria wants military assistance, China, Turkey, and Pakistan can do the job effectively. The US involvement in Nigeria will attract the real anti-US forces, making our land the theater of war. The US's involvement in Nigeria, citing coming to protect Christians, will ultimately polarize our nation and infringe on our sovereignty. Nigeria should halt all military cooperation with the USA immediately because of its imperial tendencies worldwide and seek the help of those neutral countries mentioned. Nigerians are too educated to be played with. This is going to be a 2027 campaign discourse. Meanwhile, dropping a few bombs here and there cannot tackle the menace of terror. They need serious military on the ground, which, if we are serious, we have enough men to do that. We call on all villagers affected to upload videos and pictures of any casualties involved. The attacks are symbolic of a harbinger neo-crusade war against Islam. Attack on Sokoto, where 90% are Muslim with no imminent danger of terror, while the real threat is in Maiduguri and on a Christmas Eve, with the claim of protecting against Christian genocide, says a lot. We believe the terror is manufactured and sustained by the same people claiming to fight it. A word is enough for the wise. According to Channels Television, the Nigeria government said President Bola Tinubu gave the go-ahead for the US strikes against terrorists in the country's northwestern region. Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuggar said this on Friday, hours after the US Department of War and President Donald Trump announced the North American nation had conducted strikes against the terrorists. Now that the US is cooperating, we would do it jointly, and we would ensure, just as the President emphasized yesterday before he gave the go-ahead, that it must be made clear that it is a joint operation, and it is not targeting any religion nor simply in the name of one religion or the other, the minister said on Channels Television's Sunrise Daily. We are a multi-religious country, and we are working with partners like the US to fight terrorism and safeguard the lives and properties of Nigerians, the minister said. Some have viewed the strikes as a violation of the country's territorial integrity, but Tuggar says the federal government would not take any actions that would violate the country's sovereignty. Omiyele Sowore reacted and said, I have read reports that the United States government launched attacks on Nigerian soil on Christmas Day, as announced by Donald Trump and the U.S. Secretary of War, Peter Hegseth, purportedly targeting terrorist groups within Nigeria. Although the Nigerian government now claims it was aware and describes the operation as a joint effort with vague, international partners, it is evident that the strikes were carried out without the genuine authority or informed consent of the weaklings masquerading as government under Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. My position remains unchanged. Judging by the nature of the confirmed strike on a village in Sokoto, it is clear that the US president under whose authority this operation occurred neither understands nor genuinely cares about Nigeria or Nigerians. It is deeply troubling that Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, lacks the capable and sovereign leadership required to protect its people and its territory. As a result, the country has been reduced to a bystander while its sovereignty is violated under the direction of US President Donald J. Trump. I reiterate, only true, tested, and informed leadership can protect Nigerians, not imperiled, jaundiced neoconservatives operating from Washington, D.C. Reno Omokri, in a statement titled, Addressing Omoyele Sowore's Statements on Nigeria's Sovereignty, said, I am afraid I will have to disagree with Mr. Omoyele Sowore, and others like him, who are misinforming the Nigerian public that the recent actions against terrorists are proof that Nigeria lacks sovereignty. Such views are indicative of a lack of awareness of international relations. Please fact-check me. Larger and older nations than Nigeria, which I would not want to mention out of respect for these countries and the governments, have asked for and received direct international and foreign military assistance, intervention, specifically from the United States and other countries, when dealing with terrorists operating within their borders, especially when those belligerents are mobile and have embedded themselves so close to innocent civilian populations that it would be difficult to use conventional means against them without harming law-abiding citizens. While I would not want to identify these nations, journalists and interested members of the public can use Google or other AI tools to help reveal them. It is also wrong for Mr. Sowore to call our government and military weak. For his education, Mr. Sowore may want to know that Nigeria has a better military record than most nations, and has decisively brought peace and stabilized several countries, beginning from the Congo in 1960, to Tanzania in 1964, to Lebanon in 1978, and then via Ecomog in the Mano River region, Liberia, Sierra Leone, etc., between 1991 and 2006. Our military has also helped restore democratically elected governments in places like Sao Tome and Principe and others. When Nigeria's armed forces intervened in those nations, they did not tamper with or in any way weaken the sovereignty of those countries or the governments. In fact, we were invited either by the countries themselves, the United Nations, or regional bodies. The Nigerian armed forces have a sterling military record as a dependable fighting unit. In fact, due to their superior training, Nigerian military personnel have served as chiefs of army staff in other nations. However, when you are fighting cowardly terrorists that weave in and out of civilian populations, you need the help of those with precision targeting capabilities. What Mr. Sowore and others like him may not be aware of is that no single nation has ever defeated terror on its own. It takes international effort. Mr. Sowore has himself admitted receiving funding from multiple US funding agencies. Based on his admission, should that mean he is a foreign puppet, unfit to aspire to leadership in Nigeria? Of course not. If Omoyele Sowore and others like him have anger over what has happened, please let it be directed at the terrorists and their sponsors, who have killed many Nigerians of all faiths and ethnicities and disrupted communities, while preventing honest and hard-working Nigerians from going about their lawful activities. Projecting anger at anything that will bring relief and succor to those Nigerians most affected by terror is not patriotic, no matter how much some try to cloak it in such terms. The priority is to protect the lives and properties of Nigerians by any legal and moral means necessary and possible. If, indeed, people have any influence at all, that sway should not be used to cause dissension and turn some Nigerians against their leaders. Rather, it should be used to get those terrorists to turn a new leaf, drop their weapons, embrace peace, and show fidelity to the Nigerian flag and constitution. May God bless Nigeria.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
While many Nigerians were asleep after the 2025 Christmas celebration, the United States, U.S. warship moved close and took position in the territorial Africa waters, then launched missiles at the dead of the night on Thursday into areas predominantly dominated by the Lakurawa terrorists in the Nigeria northwestern state of Sokoto, with President Donald Trump saying many of the terrorists were killed, but the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS in the West Africa province, is yet to issue a statement over the airstrikes on the Lakurawa camps in Sokoto, the armed group that is affiliated with the Islamic State Sahel province operating in Mali, Niger, and the Nigeria Kebbi and Sokoto states, whose activities are mostly observed in 5 local government areas of Tangasa, Gudu, Alela, Binji, and Salame in Sokoto state. Some residents at Jabo village in the Tambul local government area of Sokoto state posted videos online to indicate that some components used in making the missiles fell on a farmland in the Jabo village. The videos showed a lot of the villagers, mostly younger ones, holding phones with touchlight on, recording the scene of the burning parts of one of the missiles in the farmland, while some took a closer camera angle shot of some of the components that have manufacturing inscriptions, dates and brand labels. The U.S. Africa Command, in a statement a few hours ago, said, at the direction of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War, and in coordination with Nigerian authorities, U.S. Africa Command conducted strikes against ISIS terrorists in Nigeria on December 25, 2025, in Sokoto state. President Donald Trump, while announcing the military action through his Truth social media platform on Thursday night, said, "Tonight, at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing, primarily, innocent Christians, at levels not seen for many years, and even centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay, and tonight, there was." The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues. Peter Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of War, reiterated the U.S. President's announcement in a tweet, saying, "The President was clear last month, the killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and elsewhere must end. The Department of War is always ready, so ISIS found out tonight, on Christmas. More to come. Grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. Merry Christmas." On November 25, 2025, Peter Hegseth had said, "Yes, sir. The killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria, and anywhere, must end immediately. The Department of War is preparing for action. Either the Nigerian government protects Christians, or we will kill the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities." Bulama Bakati, a lawyer and social commentator, tweeted in reaction that, "I'm pleased to see that President Trump appears to have listened to our concerns back in November and worked with the Nigerian government rather than acting unilaterally." The U.S. airstrikes reportedly took place in Sokoto state, suggesting they targeted the Lakurawa group, which has become increasingly lethal. Strikes against the group are a welcome development, as they can help degrade its leadership and logistical capacity. This is especially positive given that the operation was carried out with the consent and cooperation of the Nigerian government. We had reported in early November 2025 that President Donald Trump of the United States of America has placed U.S. soldiers on red alert for possible war in Nigeria. According to President Trump, the U.S. Department of War should prepare U.S. troops for possible military action in Nigeria if the Nigerian government continued to allow the killing of Christians. The U.S. troops may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. This, President Trump issued on Saturday evening in line with Greenwich Meridian time after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu personally signed a statement rejecting Trump's earlier claim on Friday that Christians are being targeted and killed in Nigeria. Although President Bola Ahmed Tinubu disagreed with Trump, who had described the high level of insecurity in Nigeria as a religious war by Islamic terrorists against Christians, but some Nigerians quickly took to the comment section of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's post on X social media platform, and pasted a screenshot of a tweet published by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on January 29, 2014, wherein President Bola Ahmed Tinubu apparently had long accepted and agreed that the insecurity in Nigeria is possibly a religious war against Christians in the West Africa country. Verbatim, in the tweet, Tinubu said, "The slaughtering of Christian worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls to question the competence of Jonathan, then President of Nigeria, to protect Nigerians." This old statement by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu indicated that President Donald Trump of the United States of America may not be the first person to describe the insecurity in Nigeria as a religious war against Christian communities in the West Africa country.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
In an effort to challenge and prove wrong the statement of Harrison Gwamnishu, a well-known civilian volunteer assisting Nigeria security operatives with intelligence information that has led to the arrest and killing of suspected kidnappers in gun battle, that Harrison Gwamnishu was never arrested or charged to court by the Nigeria police force over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed from the 20 million nairas ransom he was contracted to hand over to the kidnappers for the release and rescue of the married couple kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State in late November 2025. A leading Nigeria social media influencer and human rights activist, Martins Vincent Otts aka Veridarkman, on Tuesday night took to his social media pages and presented an apparent questionable court document, probably with malicious intent to manipulate and mislead unsuspecting members of the public in order to malign the character of Harrison Gwamnishu. This, in the court document presented by Veridarkman, the alleged charge serial numbers were covered with a colored ink. No date of court sitting was written on the court document. The document indicated that the alleged 3-count charges were drafted and signed on the 18th of December 2025, a day before Harrison Gwamnishu was asked to go home from the police custody on December 19, 2025, while awaiting the advice of the Department of Public Prosecutor, DPP, on the matter. And the apparent fraudulent court document did not show the officer or the person responsible for the court count charges, and Veridarkman apparently in a manipulative manner did not show the full signature and any name of the officer who authored the alleged court charges. Veridarkman claimed in the video that the prosecutor wanted Harrison Gwamnishu jailed for 6 months, but the judge he identified as Justice Etinosa Adekombi allegedly on her personal consideration, because of the Christmas and New Year season and public intervention, decided to grant Harrison Gwamnishu bail. Harrison Gwamnishu says he was never arrested by the police or charged to court as speculated in the public spaces over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed out of the 20 million nairas ransom he was given to hand over to kidnappers, and as well apparently used the money as a bait to stage sting operation for the release and rescue of the husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, kidnapped in Avili community in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State, which generated public reactions after the kidnappers set free the wife and kept the husband in captivity on the ground that the money given to them was not complete, and some persons who have access to the apparent sensitive security information went public to create an impression as if Harrison Gwamnishu stole part of the ransom money, even when Harrison Gwamnishu explained to them that it is part of his operational procedures to remove some cash from the ransom money. His explanation apparently went on deaf ears, and people who may be best described as mischief makers took advantage of the issue to call Harrison Gwamnishu names and reopen his alleged past deeds in a prejudiced manner to cast aspersions on him, even when they knew that Harrison Gwamnishu has a long history with video evidences of assisting security operatives to rescue kidnapped victims, and in some cases, the total money paid as ransom were recovered and returned to the victims' families, and the sting operation usually leads to the killing and arrest of the suspected kidnappers. This, according to Harrison Gwamnishu in a statement he issued through his verified Facebook account some hours ago. He was the one who personally submitted himself voluntarily to the Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force to enable the police investigate his action, that he never had the intention of stealing the money, and his action of removing some money from the ransom was part of his usual operational procedures, adding that the police never charged him to court, and while in self-detention with the police, he became the cell president and he facilitated the release of 4 persons who were probably arrested and detained by the police unjustly for a crime the beneficiaries may know nothing about. And a video posted online by Harrison Gwamnishu on Monday night showed he arrived home to the waiting hands of his elderly mother, who was seen in the video singing, dancing with other family members, friends and well-wishers, and screaming loud with joy, while using one of her hands to caress the chest of her son, Harrison Gwamnishu, during which she said a lot of prayers in her local dialect. We had reported that the Nigeria Police Force, under the leadership of IGP Kayode Egbetoken, has kept mum since reports indicated that the US-trained private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu, who was invited to facilitate the rescue of a married couple, husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, that was kidnapped since late November at their home in Avil community, a village near Auchi Polytechnic in the Etsiko West local government area of Edo State, has been arrested and remanded to prison by a court sitting in Benin City, the Edo State capital, over allegations that the private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu, underpaid the ransom money given to him to give to the kidnappers to rescue the married couple in captivity. The reports of Harrison Gwamnishu's arrest and subsequent remand to prison custody became widespread after a popular Nigeria social media activist, Vincent Martins Otts, in a video statement on Friday morning alleged that he has facilitated the arrest of the private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu, for allegedly removing 5.4 million naira from the total amount given to him by the victim's family to help pay as ransom to the kidnappers. This occurred after the sting operations Gwamnishu had prepared the ransom money for was probably aborted after a man, whose real names may be Oshiorime Jobasegheme, leaked, revealed and exposed the plan's sensitive security information online, according to the suspect who leaked out the sensitive security operational plans of Gwamnishu. Harrison Gwamnishu never told the family he was going to remove some money from the ransom, that the kidnappers said the money was not complete, hence only the wife was released, the man still held in captivity due to the incomplete ransom payment. The suspect, Oshiorime Jobasegheme, in a video recorded statement stated that he was the one that helped facilitate the service of Harrison Gwamnishu when the family of the kidnapped victims requested for it. The action of the suspect may have prompted Harrison Gwamnishu to abort the sting operations, obviously for the safety of his personal life and the lives of Nigeria soldiers and other security operatives he does use to execute and complete his sting operations against kidnappers, which often leads to the killing of the kidnappers and recovering of the total ransom paid. For the purpose of clarity, sting operations is a deceptive practice and undercover tactics used by journalist or intelligence officer or security operative to get closer to a suspected criminal or criminals in order to be more familiar with the criminals and the environment they operate. And the deceptive practice may include the journalist or intelligence officer or security operative pretending to give ransom money to kidnappers in a manner that can cause a delay in proper assessment of the environment before the security troops may launch offensive attack against the criminals. The action of Asegheme of leaking out sensitive security information may be of interest. Why Nigeria's soldiers and other security operatives are being killed in large numbers whenever in previous and recent years the Nigeria security troops are on rescue missions, including the recent mass killing of soldiers along with Brigadier General Uba Musa and civilian JTF members at Wajiroko village in Borno State by criminals.
Alright, so that demonic, evil, very dark man, that's wicked, very dark man, is about to do his demonic, evil, wicked, envious, jealous things that he usually does. But guess what? It always comes with truth. And you all know it. You can't take that away from him. No matter the accusation, you know the truth. And you can't skip his video either. That's the law. You can accuse, push narrative, but you can never skip his videos. So sit down again and watch. So, Harrison, I've made his first post. Good for him. And then he said, let's skip to the important part. He said, for clarity, I was neither invited nor arrested by the police. As a law-abiding citizen, I voluntarily presented myself for investigation regarding the incident. Which incident? Let's skip that. At the moment, I have not been charged, as the matter is still under review by the Directorate of Public Prosecution. See, this is the problem. I don't like lies. Damage control here and there. Anyways, you have not been charged. I will read your charges for you. You might be wondering how I got the document, but I'll read it for you regardless. As you can see, in the High Court of Justice of Edo State, in the Benin Criminal Division, holding at Benin City, Motion 2025, between Commissioner of Police, complainant/applicant, and Gwamnishu Arisin M, 35 years, suspect. He said he has not been charged. Now let's read this charge. Charge that you, Gwamnishu M, on or about the 27th day of November 2025, around Auchi, Edo State, within the Auchi Criminal Division, under false pretense of inserting some security device into money meant for ransom payments of kidnappers, with intent to defraud, did obtain the sum of 5.4 million naira from one Abdulaziz Salih, and thereby committed an offense contrary to section 1 bracket at and punishable under section 1 subsection 3 of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud Related Offences Act 2006. That's one. Count 2 of your charge. That's you, Gwamnishu M, on or about 27th day of November 2025, around Auchi, Edo State, within the Auchi Criminal Division, did have in possession counterfeit currency notes of 5.4 million naira, which you knew the counterfeit currency, and thereby committed an offense punishable under section 25, subsection 5 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act 2023. Counts 3. That you, Gwamnishu, on or about the 2nd day of December 2025, around Auchi in Edo State, within the Criminal Division, did cause the continuing kidnap of one Zagiru Ibrahim M, and thereby committed an offense punishable under section 3 of the Kidnapping Prohibition Amendment Law of Edo State. You see, these are very, very big. You see the counts 2. My lawyer and I put down for that problem. That issue of fake naira notes, say, just to do damage control, right? They now put it in the problem for count 2. Count 3, they are alleging kidnapping. That is part of the people doing kidnapping, based on their own investigation. Now, I wouldn't know why you would lie about something like this. Now, this is the charge that you said you were never charged. Just in case you still want to argue further, this is the judge that sat on the case. Her name is Honorable Justice Etinosa Adekambi. That's the judge. That was the prosecutor. The judge was there. As a matter of fact, The prosecutor wanted you to go to jail for what you did for 6 months. But the judge was, of course, the judge just had to. Christmas they come, and of course a lot of people trying to plead and all that. So the judge just said, yeah. Now, let's go back again, right? He said, for clarity, I was neither invited nor arrested by the police. That means you walked in. So why didn't you walk out? Why didn't you walk out? Now, I don't like damage control, you see. But anything you say, I'm just going to come say something. And of course, you all know very dark man have proof. And let me tell you see, Nigerians have what I call a problem. It's not as if they don't know. Whatever thing I say, trust me, the whole country, anybody that watches it know I'm not lying. Of course, some people out of hate, I don't attack their favorite person before, they are scared that tomorrow might be their turn, they will just gather. It's like a group, you understand? They have a group of haters somewhere. They camp against very dark man. But the problem is this, you can't do anything. Do you understand? You can't do anything. And once very dark man talks about you, take it anywhere. There's what I do. I call it the truth hole. I put the truth hole on your personality. You might not go to prison, you might not go to jail. But there's that doubt I give. If I put a bomb, before anybody takes your story anymore, it's going to take ages. We have not even started. I will now go bit by bit into the whole thing. Like I said, I would just want you to come and tell the public. Nobody can believe you over very dark man. It's not even possible. They are all lying to themselves. Do you understand? And again, this is the law. Let me tell you how the law. It's my law. It's my law. When very dark man, when you have a problem, very dark man, right, this is what happens. Or when there's a problem. When people have a problem with VDM, that period, we get a lot of engagement. After 4 months, the people know VDM is not lying. They know, they just want to just bullshit VDM. But of course, VDM doesn't give a fuck. So they go to support you, po. Then later, they know the truth. They are going to go back. They did it with China, Ross. Where is it today? Mr. Jollof, a few days ago. Everybody, oh, Jollof. You can't get no good engagement no more. You have to do something extraordinary, right? Do you understand? So when you do damage control, sometimes, and these sort of things, I look at them and I smile. 4 months, they know VDM don't lie. 2, 3 months, they know VDM don't lie. Do you understand? They know VDM don't lie. Like I said, my work sometimes is not to take you to jail. No, not because I want them to arrest. No. Simple. I just put a hole there. It's a hole. It's called the truth hole in the character. Do you understand? And the painful part is all of you cannot do anything about it. Nobody can do anything about it. This is very dark man we are talking about. Do you understand? Now your connection cannot do much. You bring out money, we bring out money too. You can't tell no police to go pick very dark man up anymore that you have some connection. It's not going to work. Unless if you are the government. Of course, the government can do that. They are the government. But no single entity, again, in this full country can do shit anymore. You can waste 200 million, I'll put it down. You go higher, I go higher. We put money down now. And guess what? What people don't know is, once the case is in the public, I can talk about it. It's my right to talk about it. I like my new accent. Peace and love, don't play. If you play, don't learn, and you will learn the hard way. And in this case, you all will learn. Like I said, I will make everybody look stupid. That is what I do best. Peace and love, don't play. And you all know, I don't need love from nobody. I don't use love for nothing.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Harrison Gwamnishu says he was never arrested by the police or charged to court as speculated in the public spaces over the 5.4 million nairas he allegedly removed out of the 20 million nairas ransom he was given to hand over to kidnappers, and as well apparently used the money as a bait to stage sting operation for the release and rescue of the husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim kidnapped in Avi Avili community in the Etsuko West local government area of Edo State, which generated public reactions after the kidnappers set free the wife and kept the husband in captivity on the ground that the money given to them was not complete, and some persons who have access to the apparent sensitive security information went public to create an impression as if Harrison Gwamnishu stole part of the ransom money, even when Harrison Gwamnishu explained to them that it is part of his operational procedures to remove some cash from the ransom money. His explanation apparently went on deaf ears, and people who may be best described as mischief makers took advantage of the issue to call Harrison Gwamnishu names and reopen his alleged past deeds in a prejudiced manner to cast aspersions on him even when they knew that Harrison Gwamnishu has a long history with video evidences of assisting security operatives to rescue kidnapped victims, and in some cases, the total money paid as ransom are recovered and returned to the victims' families, and the sting operation usually leads to the killing and arrest of the suspected kidnappers. This, according to Harrison Gwamnishu in a statement he issued through his verified Facebook account some hours ago. He was the one who personally submitted himself voluntarily to the Edo State Command of the Nigeria Police Force to enable the police investigate his action, that he never had the intention of stealing the money, and his action of removing some money from the ransom was part of his usual operational procedures, adding that the police never charged him to court, and while in self-detention with the police, he became the cell president and he facilitated the release of 4 persons who were probably arrested and detained by the police unjustly for a crime the beneficiaries may know nothing about, and a video posted online by Harrison Gwamnishu on Monday night showed he arrived home to the waiting hands of his elderly mother, who was seen in the video singing, dancing with other family members, friends and well-wishers, and screaming loud with joy, while using one of her hands to caress the chest of her son, Harrison Gwamnishu, during which she said a lot of prayers in her local dialect. In his words, Harrison Gwamnishu said, "I did not return alone. During my time in custody, I became the cell presido, OBJ, and later handed over that responsibility to a young man, Honor Abba, who had also been unjustly arrested and detained. While there, I quietly supported the release of 4 individuals who were being held without cause. And today, Honor Abba from Benue State has also regained his freedom. My sincere appreciation goes to my Edo human rights team, led by John Odion Kadiri, for their invaluable support in making this possible. Dear family, I am pleased to inform you all that I have been released from custody. Words cannot express how grateful I am for your support, especially considering that many of you had not yet heard my own side of what truly happened. For clarity, I was neither invited nor arrested by the police. As a law-abiding citizen, I voluntarily presented myself for investigation regarding the incident. At the moment, I have not been charged, as the matter is still under review by the Directorate of Public Prosecution. I sincerely appreciate every one of you. I will take time to personally thank you all for standing by me. My special appreciation goes to my lawyers, Barrister Eliawala Afolabi, San, Barrister Dele Benedian, Barrister Favor Ajuabor, and Barrister Awele Ideal for their professionalism and dedication in securing my release. Despite my many years of advocating against police brutality, one might have assumed the police would be hostile towards me. Instead, I am grateful to the Edo State Commissioner of Police for his wisdom and professionalism. I must also commend the hard-working investigation team led by CSP Oseje for their care and fatherly guidance during my time in detention. Thank you all once again for being part of my journey, said Harrison Gwamnishu, founder, Safe City Volunteer Foundation. We had reported that the Nigeria Police Force under the leadership of IGP Kayode Egbetoken has kept mum since reports indicated that the US-trained private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu, who was invited to facilitate the rescue of a married couple, husband and wife simply identified as Mr. and Mrs. Ibrahim, that was kidnapped since late November at their home in Avili community, a village near Auchi Polytechnic in the Etsuko West local government area of Edo State, has been arrested and remanded to prison by a court sitting in Benin City, the Edo State capital, over allegations that the private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu underpaid the ransom money given to him to give to the kidnappers to rescue the married couple in captivity. The reports of Harrison Gwamnishu's arrest and subsequent remand to prison custody became widespread after a popular Nigeria social media activist, Vincent Martins Ots, in a video statement on Friday morning alleged that he has facilitated the arrest of the private intelligence officer, Harrison Gwamnishu, for allegedly removing 5.4 million naira from the total amount given to him by the victim's family to help pay as ransom to the kidnappers. This occurred after the sting operations Gwamnishu had prepared the ransom money for was probably aborted after a man, whose real names may be Auchi Job Asegheme, leaked, revealed and exposed the planned sensitive security information online. According to the suspect who leaked out the sensitive security operational plans of Gwamnishu, Harrison Gwamnishu never told the family he was going to remove some money from the ransom, that the kidnappers said the money was not complete, hence only the wife was released. The man still held in captivity due to the incomplete ransom payment. The suspect, Auchi Job Asegheme, in a video recorded statement stated that he was the one that helped facilitate the service of Harrison Gwamnishu when the family of the kidnapped victims requested for it. The action of the suspect may have prompted Harrison Gwamnishu to abort the sting operations, obviously for the safety of his personal life and the lives of Nigeria's soldiers and other security operatives he does use to execute and complete his sting operations against kidnappers, which often leads to the killing of the kidnappers and recovering of the total ransom paid. For the purpose of clarity, sting operations is a deceptive practice and undercover tactics used by journalist or intelligence officer or security operative to get closer to a suspected criminal or criminals in order to be more familiar with the criminals and the environment they operate. And the deceptive practice may include the journalist or intelligence officer or security operative pretending to give ransom money to kidnappers in a manner that can cause a delay in proper assessment of the environment before the security troops may launch offensive attack against the criminals. The action of Asegheme of leaking out sensitive security information may be of interest. Why Nigeria soldiers and other security operatives are being killed in large numbers whenever in previous and recent years the Nigeria security troops are on rescue missions, including the recent mass killing of soldiers along with Brigadier General Uba Musa and civilian JTF members at Wajiriko village in Borno State by criminals.
What's your name? My name is Ona Abba. Ona Abba. Where are you from? I'm from Benue State. Waiting carry you come state. Last week Wednesday, I did for this Omega guest house. So some strike force come bust us for the lodge. Me and one of my brother girlfriend with two of my brothers who they carry from road. Okay. Where they accuse them say they be kidnappers, say they won't kidnap one woman. Meanwhile, the woman don't been duped them before. So as they see the woman, they see me, they go police station. Because they with the Benue boys and you know they hear me, they turn the thing upside down. Come label us as kidnappers. And so I take by myself for state CID without doing anything. Now Lord, they come carry me from. How you take me to person where they you? So when they come lock me for cell, they lock me for like 3 days. I no see food chop. Nobody come for me. None of even the complainants no ask of us. My IPO, nobody come see us. No food, nothing for 3 days. So my brother did the other cell. I can't manage enter the cell. So I can't meet one Mr. Harrison. I've forgotten his surname, but Oga Harrison, his name is Harrison. So I met him inside the other cell. Then since then, he take care of us for like 1 week. Today go make 1 week and 5 days when I don't spend for CID here. So he was the one taking care of us today. I want to use this opportunity to thank him. Now he come the first way to come pay me for more today.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Barely 1 month after terrorists invaded the Christian school on November 21, 2025 and kidnapped over 230 school children at the St. Mary Catholic Church School in Papri Town in Niger State, the Nigeria government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced the complete release of all the abducted church school children by the terrorists. According to the presidential spokesperson, Bayo Onanuga, the terrorists released the kids based on intelligence-driven operations, but some Nigerians who took to the comment sections of the presidential spokesperson on social media said the government should come out clean and tell the public the truth that it paid money as ransom to the terrorists to secure the freedom of the kids, stressing that terrorists don't release kidnapped victims for free. Bayo Onanuga, the presidential spokesperson, had said in a statement he issued and made available yesterday that the remaining 130 school children abducted by terrorists at St. Mary's Catholic School in Papri, Niger State, on November 21st, have now been released. They're expected to arrive in Minna on Monday and rejoin their parents for the Christmas celebration. 100 were released earlier by the terrorists, taking the total of freed students to 230. The freedom of the school children followed a military intelligence-driven operation. Some social media users who are apparently Nigerians took to the comment sections of the presidential spokesperson post both on Facebook and X social media platforms and expressed themselves over the new developments, some of which are presented verbatim below. Rilwan Ibrahim said, "Released not rescued. Kidnappers don't release captives for free. In all thank God for their lives." Femi Adeboye said, "So what happened to their abductors? Were they engaged in the way they understand, or they were released after monetary negotiation? We thank God for the release of these children. At the same time, what happened to the abductors?" Akinbade Aganbiade said, "Military intelligence-driven operation. As how many bandits did they arrest?" Banki Alesh said, "A wheeler-dealer government of no direction will never say the truth. Only God knows how much ransom was paid from the hard-earned resources or borrowed funds of this country. No amount of propaganda or damage control. Nigerians becomes wiser every day with all your antics, and they're ready for you come 2027. Ruska Oko said, "Sir, with all due respect, do the terrorists release them unconditionally or your government paid ransom?" Joke Megamixer stated, "The presidency celebrates a military intelligence-driven operation for the Papri release, yet says nothing about the fate of the abductors. In a functioning security system, the return of victims is only half the job. Without arrests or neutralized threats, this is not a rescue. It is a handover that comes at a cost that wasn't mentioned." The official account of the Papri release reads like a travel itinerary, not a security report. If this was indeed an intelligence-led operation, where are the suspects? Silence on the abductors' fate suggests a non-combative arrangement that leaves the kidnap industry intact. Mass kidnappings in Niger State have become a cycle of trauma and PR-managed returns. By failing to mention any neutralized threats or arrests in the Papri operation, the presidency inadvertently credits the kindness of terrorists for the freedom of our children. Aliyu Muhammad stated, "Kudos to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, PBAT, for his serious commitment to tackling security challenges. Lately, the government has been putting in real work to end kidnapping and banditry once and for all." Samuel Ozana stated, "Such military intelligence. Transactions completed. Alert received. A government that negotiates with terrorists." Onusum stated, "I'm glad the remaining schoolchildren have been released and will soon be reunited with their families. But, Mr. Bayo, how many terrorists were arrested or killed during the operation to free these children? Or was it the usual method of paying ransom to these terrorists while pretending otherwise?" Ben Samuel stated, "What happened to the kidnappers? Frankly, we're far more interested in seeing how you deal ruthlessly with the terrorists than in the victims themselves, because we all know you'll insist no ransom was paid, even as they were released, perhaps in exchange for Xmas handshakes. You can't easily steal 50 cows and march them into the forests, let alone abduct hundreds of human beings. How do you plan to face Nigerians next year and campaign for APC re-election, when that would only mean more kidnappings and deeper insecurity? This is a truly clueless administration. What Nigerians want is to see the forests littered with the bodies of neutralized kidnappers. Proof of overwhelming firepower, but instead, you allow them to regroup and strike again, kidnapping even more victims every day. Chika Ohaji added that, Mr. Onanuga, don't you think it is just too much to ask children who have been in a terrorist den for close to 2 months to be smiling for the camera? While we are relieved these children who are, from being normal kids, have undergone severe trauma, asking them to smile for the camera is adding salt to injury. They did not go on vacation. It wasn't Disney World. I think you people can do better. Terrorists are in competition with government for control of resources. That tells you a lot. Halata Smith added that. Check out the words used. How will release follow after a military intelligence operation and no abductors were either arrested or sent to their maker? Looks like we are getting good at hostile negotiations. Honorable Nuhu Sada added that. We welcome the safe release of the remaining 130 schoolchildren in Papuri. While we rejoice with their families, this tragic abduction underscores the urgent need for effective security reforms to ensure our children can learn without fear.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.
Increasing rates of mass shooting leading to mass murder in South Africa recorded another new figure on Sunday early morning in the Bekkersdal town near the southwestern part of Johannesburg in the Gauteng province when about 12 masked unknown gunmen invaded a public drinking, accommodation and relaxation spot known as Tavern, shooting into the pub and shot people as they sight them on the street while fleeing, leading to the killing of 9 persons as confirmed by the local authority, with additional 10 persons sustaining injuries. This occurred less than 3 weeks when gunmen stormed an illegal drinking establishment also known as Shebeen at a hostel in Salisville, west of Pretoria, wherein 12 people were killed, including a 3-year-old child, a 12-year-old boy, and a 16-year-old girl, and in 2024 alone, 26,232 murder cases representing more than 70 people killed per day in South Africa was reported by the South African Police Service, SAPS, and a non-governmental organization, the Democratic Alliance, BC had stated in its report earlier in the year that between January and March 2025, 5,727 people were murdered, representing an average of 62 people killed per day in 2025 first quarter, and 6,985 attempted murders were recorded, 75 per day. 43,776 assaults with intent to cause grievous bodily harm were reported, representing 475 per day. 10,688 people were raped, 116 per day. 4,571 kidnappings occurred, 49 per day. 11,111 common robberies and 35,374 commercial crimes were reported, representing 504 per day. And as at the time of filing in this report on Monday morning, the South Africa President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is yet to issue statement or announce policy action over the Sunday recent mass murder in the country, just as residents who spoke with local media blamed the attack on illegal miners known by the group name Zama Zamas, and the residents believed the police are in cahoots with the different gangsters terrorizing communities in South Africa. Local residents who spoke with local news media said that the mass murder in Bekkersdal occurred around 1 a.m. early morning night on Sunday, December 21st, with about 12 gunmen in a white van and silver sedan opened fire at the Quinoxalo Tavern in Bekkersdal, southwest of Johannesburg. A resident who spoke with Newsroom Africa Television said, "It is bad, my sister. The thing is, this has become a norm in this township. Young kids, tender kids as young as 2, 3 years old, when a gunshot sounds, they don't flinch. They would ask you, which direction does it come from? They're used to gunshots. Little kids. Now you can imagine how much about old people. What happened yesterday is a reflection of, I don't know how to put it, maybe, let me put it straight, a reflection of neglect by the police. Criminals, they do as they please here. These guns, they sound each and every evening. Let me put it that way. As soon as it's dusk, we know that gunshots are about to sound. And they will sound severely to a point whereby us ourselves would wonder, someone is shot or maybe someone has died. It is rare that you find people die like this. But gunshots, they sound the following morning. There's no report of someone dead. So I don't know if today, it's music, it's something that they enjoy, but it's terrorizing our communities. Who is terrorizing your community? People that are terrorizing our communities mainly is the Zamas and Sutu nationals, to be precise. Why am I saying that? When you talk to some of them, they will tell you that this is a rivalry thing. It's a gang rivalry thing. There are two gangs that are in the main that are playing a role here, and they're making sure that they send a clear message to each other. You understand? Because here there's a gang of these people that reside here or that stays with us here, and their arrival is on the other side of town. So as they come here, they're sending a message to these ones, but at the expense of our own community. So I would like to plead with General to please take action with this. And he must be decisive with it, such that he starts from within his own house, there at the police station of Pakistan, if necessary. Let it be that they reshuffle everyone if they can transfer all of them and bring new members here, because we are having a problem with them being in cahoots with criminals, you understand. The community will tell you that police are collecting brown envelopes from these people and nothing is happening. So the crime here is dismal. It's bad. And the leadership, let me be specific, the councillors and the ward committees here must come to play. But I think also they themselves, they're politicizing these issues. They are not up to scratch with this team. Among the 20 people shot, with 9 confirmed dead, police says its investigation is ongoing from the point of view of the terrorist attack. Gauteng Deputy Provincial Police Commissioner, Major General Fred Kekana said the attackers searched people after shooting them, taking their valuables, including phones. He said 3 people were killed inside the bar, while others were shot as they tried to flee, with the gunmen continuing to fire as they left the scene. Gauteng Deputy Provincial Police Commissioner, Major General Fred Kekana also told Newsroom Africa that the perpetrators, armed with pistols and 1 AK-47, were unprovoked. The poor patrons were just enjoying themselves when people came and shot, he said. The police commissioner said among those killed was a driver working for an online ride-hailing service, when about 12 unidentified suspects arrived at the scene in 2 vehicles, opened fire on patrons inside the tavern and fled. At least 10 wounded people were taken to hospital.
Osazuwa Connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Osazuwa Connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way. Osazuwa Connected, bringing you the news in a more digital way.